Welcome to another exciting episode of Kap Or No Kap. I am your host, Kevin C. Meggett, and now we are part of M24 News. That's Millennium TV, for those that don't know. There's a lot that's been going on. I want to talk about some things right before I bring my guest on. As you know, we lost a couple of iconic figures in hip-hop. Rest in peace to DMX. Rest in peace to Black Rob. We lost Shock G. Who else did we lose? Prince Markie. We lost Prince Markie. And so hip hop has been taking a beat. He took a real big beat in the month of April. And my heart really goes out to those families and everyone there. They'll probably live on forever through their music. What else has been going on? Oh, the Biden, President Biden made his first joint session. He made a speech for his first 100 days to a very empty Congress, and he was and Tim Scott came on and gave a rebuttal that caused a lot of controversy because a lot of black folk were referring to him as Uncle Tim, which is a play on Uncle Tom. So I want to talk about that as well. And I will also want to talk about various people in the industry after we had those losses in the hip-hop community has been shouting out and tweeting and saying that hip-hop needs a union. There needs to be a union for hip-hop. So, these are the things we want to discuss today. And I'm gonna bring my guest on today. She's no stranger to Kap Or No Kap. In fact, I need to bring her back as my host because that's exactly what she is. I've just been kind of doing this, a little solo, but it's never solo. We are a trio. They're just on a little hiatus because they're so busy. So I want to bring out Janaea Butler. She is the founder of Hip Hop Union. So hip hop does have a union, ladies and gentlemen. And if you and if I could get Styles P up here, maybe we could connect and put these dots together to see how we can strengthen that union and build with other people. She's also a Republican. And are you a Republican or are you a conservative? Because
I'm a conservative Republican.
A conservative Republican.
I'm actually a hip hop Republican.
Okay.
We can get into that a little bit. And,
okay.
But I'm actually a hip hop Republican, but I'm conservative. African Americans are conservative by nature. We believe in family values. We believe in building things, and we now have gotten away from all those things. And a lot of it is because of what we're saying that we are. We're saying, that we want programs, we want help, but really we want strong businesses. We want everything that everybody else wants. We want to be able to reach the American dream too,
Absolutely. So let's talk about what made you want to start Hip Hop Union? Where did that come from?
Well, that was, this has been, a labor of love because I kind of stumbled into it. So I started the social services of hip hop in the year of 2000, which was to identify and remedy problems that affect the growth of the hip hop culture. So I've kind of been on the backbone and, people haven't really known what I've done because, it's more of scientific stuff, like we're trying to figure out how to move a culture in a certain direction. So you don't go talk to everybody about that. So the Hip Hop Union came up first in 2005 when I did some research studying at Memorial Day weekend in Miami. And I realized that nobody was talking to each other, that we were being manipulated by the music and the brands and everything to do what it was we wanted other people to do. And so we concluded that we needed to talk and we needed to build it. And then realizing that hip hop eventually was going to need some safety net services, some alumni services to help the older folks in hip hop come together. So, I've been on the forefront of this from the very beginning. It's been like I said, a labor of love, but it's been a great, and now it's awesome that people are recognizing that it needs to happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now that hip hop is a
Global
global
entity.
entity,
It's
it's
the
the
you could
you
go
could
anywhere
go
in the
anywhere in the
world,
world,
and hip
and
hop
hip
is
hop is
being
being
demonstrated and
demonstrated and
illustrated.
illustrated.
So
So
Isn't that like
the, the
amazing?
the
the
time is
time
so
is
right.
so
This is
right.
a
This is a
multi-billion
multi-billion
dollar
dollar
business. It's an
business. It's an
industry,
industry,
and
and
it
it
hurts my
hurts my
heart when I
heart when I
hear
hear
some of the
some of the founders, or a lot of the founders, I should say, or most of a lot of the founders did the same thing that you did. They gave a labor of love and created something that is now a culture that the entire world is now enjoying, but no one gives forward. So shout out to you with that.
Well, thank you. And I think hip hop is a labor of love. If you really love hip hop and if you put anything into it, I think that at first really blossoms from a labor of love. I think the younger kids of the generation, they don't necessarily, get it like that. But when you fall in love with hip hop, they got the meme now, like, when did you first fall in love with hip hop? So
Right.
when you fell into hip hop, you fell into a labor of love, of wanting to be a part of it and wanting to be down, and that's the beauty of it.
Right, right. And it's so ironic because we very seldom think that foundational Black Americans, or AKA African Americans, don't contribute anything to the world. Well, ding dong, hip
Mhm.
hop, those
That's
things
big. That's big.
that
Hmm.
they contributed for the entire world to enjoy, as they did R&B and jazz and blues and gospels and so forth. Things that we just give it away so back to its essence or its origins of where it started. But I digress. Let's talk about how did you become a Republican?
Well, I was raised in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and not that Cherry Hill, New Jersey is a Republican territory or anything like that, but I was raised with a very open-minded perspective and to look at the world very open-mindedly. And so when I had got to New York and Harlem, I moved to Harlem in 98 and I met this guy. His name was W.A.B. Britmore. Okay. And he's like a ghost to me at this point. And and so he used to tell me about politics. I said, I think that I want to get into politics. So he used to tell me about politics. And he said, listen, girl, you're not a Democrat. All those Negroes are over there in that group and they're not doing anything. And you're progressive and you want to be the mother of hip hop. And that is from a Republican perspective. And it was like, what are you talking about? So this was back in 2000. So I've actually been a Republican since 2000. So the values of Republicans are much of what we are as hip hop citizens. Jay-Z and Nas, they have the song Black Republican. Now it's
Right.
obviously a play on stuff, but I feel like a Black Republican, money I got coming in. This is where we're at, right? And so this is where we're at in hip hop. And hip hop is a very capitalistic society. So for us to say in hip hop that we're out here grinding, it's like an oxymoron. We're out here grinding, trying to make our way, pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps in the hip hop community and hustling hard, no sleep, this and that. That's a Republican mindset. And see, we have to stop being irrational about who we are and what we're doing because we're being taken advantage of and we're missing a lot of money because of that, right? So, so were you saying something?
No, no, no. I'm listening to you.
Oh,
I'm
so then I became a Republican. So he pushed me. He's like, I remember going to the mailbox and holding this, like, oh my God, I can't believe this. He's like, this is going to be the best thing that you ever did is change from a Republican to Democrat because it's going to say that you understand the greater world around you, right? And so we can't all be Democrats and then have no Republicans. We need allies on both sides of this field, and we have to start playing our game in America a lot better. We have to stop waiting for people to tell us what to do, waiting for people to shoot us, waiting for everything, waiting for people to tell us who to vote for. No, we're going to tell you who we want to vote for. We're going to put people in office, and we've got to be more proactive. So I'm a Republican because I want low taxes. I want the government out of my business. I believe in strong family values, strong Christian values. Okay. These are all things. I believe in small business and moving money in this country. And so these are all the things that are Republican and conservative principles that we're ignoring and trying to say, no, we don't want any parts of that. Well, I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I can't hear you.
You was talking fast. You said you became you was Republican to Democrat, but I know it was the other way around. You was a Democrat at one point, and then you became a Republican, correct?
Right. Oh,
I said you were you were talking so fast that at one point you said you changed over from Republican to Democrat.
I'm sorry. Yes, I changed from Democrat to Republican. Yes,
changed over from Democrat
absolutely,
to Republican. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
That's okay. But Republicans, like I can get in front of or behind of some of their values. Here's my thing. Here's my whole. Right. Here's my thing. I'm an independent. So I go by issues. Congratulate Republican or the Democrat Party's foundation of Black American interests at heart. So I believe Republicans could be a friend of our interests.
Well, we got to put some of the interests that we want on the table.
The problem is we have to organize to put our interests on the table. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. No. It's just all like scattered and stuff. Hello.
The problem with that is
Still scattered.
we as a people that we don't know what our issues are.
If you're talking, I haven't heard anything.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear
Hello?
me?
Yes.
You hear me now?
Hello?
You hear me good? You hear me better? Janaea,
You hear me now?
Yes.
can you hear me?
Janaea,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear the last thing that I said?
No.
I said that does Republican core values, do they believe in reparations for foundational black Americans?
Probably not. Because again, the principles are pull yourselves up by the bootstraps. And that's an issue that we need to take up for ourselves. I don't think that's a Democrat or, Republican for their core values, because that qualifies as a group within ourselves. And that's why our voting block and our votes have to be so pointed, because we have to get what we want out of the system. The system is not going to necessarily give us what it is that we need and to move forward. It's not necessarily, and don't get me wrong, I think America needs to stop eating its citizens very to the 10th power. But we, what is it that we can do, but stick together on something like that. So no, I don't think at all that they are interested in getting reparations, because when we say getting reparations, what we're saying to them is more taxes, which they want low taxes, right? So we, investing in something that they don't necessarily think is the right thing. They might think that we've been wrong, but they don't think that we need the reparations. But we do need the reparations, and we have to be the ones that prove that.
So do you personally feel that we should have reparations?
At 100%, 150,000%. We have been disenfranchised in so many ways across the board, and we need some time to get on our feet. We need some fluff and we need some pillow talk to get on our feet and to move this forward. And let me say this, as a Republican, where I'm going to try to convince the other Republicans is that this can actually stimulate the economy, because once the Black Americans in this country have a different mentality from the one that is, kind of downtrodden, and the Democrats saying that, we're supposed to get shot, we're the victims, and, there's no racism in this country, all that kind of stuff. So once we move away from that, and once we move into a form of, listen, this community, this is an underutilized community. And I think that's what we're really missing, Kevin, is that this is an underutilized community. And so if we stimulate this community in the right ways, not just because it should be stimulated, but looking at this from the part where these people are people of genius, and if moving in the right direction, it could be worth a lot to this country, a lot more than we're worth now.
Right. And that's kind of been my argument. See, I want to destroy the system of white supremacy and replace it with a system of justice. And we cannot honestly say that we're not living in a system of white supremacy racism here in America. And the rest of the world don't have this view or this take on foundational Black Americans or African Americans or Native Black Americans, that we're shiftless, we're lazy, we don't take advantage of opportunity. You're
cutting out again.
That is going that
I can't hear.
And is being used to show that I said this is the language trend. Can you hear me now?
So this is the language that is being used to dispel or to describe or to show the allegory of foundational Black Americans in this country. But in reality, it goes really how deep rooted racism really is, because we don't own and control anything.
Right.
So the images that you see of us or we're portrayed as, we don't control those images or those stereotypes. Someone else is doing it. So it's about ownership and the lack thereof. So prior to the, or I'm saying post-Civil War, post-Civil War, foundational Black Americans owned 1.1, not 1.1, a half of 1% of all the resources in this country.
Right. And we're still there, right? You're cutting out again.
The same exact number, 1/2 of 1% of all the resources
on this issue
in this country.
We're gonna take a real short break.
Is owned by, so we didn't know when America, China on their human rights story should be able to come together on.
We should.
You should mic on the phone because it's the reception of the phone that keeps it.
I'm not on my phone.
No, I'm on. Here we go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone.
I apologize for it. But so I kind of want to move on. Let's talk about Joe Biden's. How much is $6 trillion plan?
Wow.
And Tim Scott, his reply to it. So let's start with the $6 trillion plan.
Do you think it's expensive?
We just spent $2 trillion, right? You know,
right.
on the last stimulus, and we trillion and up. You know, so it's new numbers going on. So $6 trillion is a lot of money. He says we have the money. Show us. So show us where we have the money, and show us where we're going to benefit from the $6 trillion and not going into, you know, just a state of recession as we're bleeding money out by the seams and saying that we have it and not really having a strong plan of how we're going to get it back. They said that the economy is booming. But we put the money into it to make the economy boom. So it's like, is it really booming, or is it just your stimulus checks that you gave out and everybody spent the money again, just because they're tired of being in the house? So I don't know, $6 trillion is a lot of money. And I want to hear more. So I'm looking forward to hearing them on the tour.
And it's funny because you have a lot of social democrats, socialist, Democrats, socialists, or social democrats, whatever, like the AOCs and those guys, that wants even more. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so
they're really out to bankrupt the country.
It's really
they won't mind if the country is bankrupt.
Really. But it's because, so mention the whole referendum. Where are you going to get the money from? And I'm like, well, get it from the same place you're getting it for this $6 trillion. You know what I mean? But the point that I'm trying to make is, it's got to make sense, because we're going to pass down debt to an unseen generation, and then where are we going? And no one stops to think that we're competing with China. China is going to be the number one economic superpower in, I predict, 5 years or less. The whole world right now don't even want to do business with America. They want to do business with China.
Well, I think that the coronavirus was an act of war. I think that, there's no way that you cannot classify that as an act of war, like it was an accident across the world. And then China is about to be a superpower. I think that we really need to look into that. And I don't know why that's not something that's, up. I think that, United States and everybody else knows that we're already in World War III. It's crazy.
I applaud you for even mentioning that or having the spine to mention that, because that's something that I've always echoed, that I felt that was a biological attack, because you cannot fight traditional wars any longer. It's too messy. You know what I mean? One has nuclear weapons, so you're threatening humanity on a whole with conventional war. So this is how wars are going to be fought now, through bio attacks, through cyber attacks, through power grid attacks. You know, right. and I believe wholeheartedly. No one's ever asked, what were you doing in Wuhan? No one's ever. What were you doing in that lab in Wuhan that
right.
led to
right.
No one's asked the right question. So, I mean, yeah, whatever. Let's talk about Senator, Congressman Tim Scott, his rebuttal.
U.S. Senator Scott.
Well, first of all, what do you think of him?
I got a chance to spend 3 days with him. He has this group, Empower America, and I thought it was amazing. It's this body of folks who are training the next generation of leaders, and not necessarily Republicans, but more importantly, Tim Scott Republicans. And so I got a chance to talk to him, got a chance to see his authenticity, and I thought that he was, good brother man out, in another in another island by himself. And I think that we need to applaud him for that. We act as though that, this black man, the only black U.S. Republican, black U.S. senator, has an easy job, or that people are giving him, a red carpet because he's a black Republican. It is the opposite, but I think that we need to look at our differences differently. Like, yeah, he's different than us, like the quote unquote us, or he seems to be, but he has really strong values, and he was raised by a single mother who pushed him over the edge, and he just overachieved, and he's a U.S. senator. And I think that, we need to applaud him for that. Now, when he goes out, of course, and then says, hey, America's not racist, it throws everybody off, and I told his camp, if anything, I would have kept that out of it, because I think it just, gave the Democrats a soundbite to disclude everything else that he already said,
Right. And I thought the same thing, like social media was going crazy in a frenzy when they were calling him Uncle Tim. Mm-hmm. And he was cooning, and like all of that kind of stuff. And it's weird, because my whole thing is, before I charge someone now, I'd like to have a conversation with them. Right. And I'm not going to say he was or he isn't. I don't know. Maybe he misspoke. Maybe he spoke as
it was part of his conversation. And go ahead. Sorry.
I didn't see it in its entirety. And of course, they'll only give you a sound bite, and everyone runs with that sound bite.
Right.
So, I mean, I could easily say the same thing for Congressman, what's his name?
Clyburn. I can't hear you.
Clyburn, thank you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Would be where he was if it wasn't for him. And then when he was asked, well, what do you want? And he said he wants the Negro national anthem to replace that. That's not tangible. And essentially you didn't want nothing. So you tell me the difference. You know what I mean? He didn't commit to nothing. He said, no, we don't need nothing. Foundational Black Americans need resources. We need resources so that we could compete. And we love to bring up Oprah and Michael Jordan and LeBron James and all the Jay-Z and all of these folk, Diddy, and say all of these folks are actually successful. So what's wrong with Black folk as a whole being successful? And the problem with that, I believe it to be, is that we are not able to compete as a group like every other ethnic group in this country. There are barriers. No other ethnic group in this country that migrated to this country ever had to deal with Jim Crow laws. So I like to say we are under three types of slavery. We went through three slaveries. Foundational Black Americans have gone through three slaveries. The actual physical chattel slavery that built this country. Then you had Jim Crows that kept us from accessing any resources to the country, to the benefit of the country. And then, of course, I think civil rights. I think civil rights was another form of slavery because it helped everyone else except for the people that it was actually written for. What do you think of that?
Well, that's a good layout of the three levels of slavery. And I think that is something that we really need to take a look at. What I call this time right now is we're having an urban dilemma. And that is the common, what's happening. Let me break this down to you really quick. What's happening with police and our citizens. What's happening is an urban dilemma. And so that's the common distasteful physical, emotional, or mental trauma that people experience when coming in contact with Black people. Let's say Black people. And I usually say people of urban descent, but let's say Black people. And so it's the common thing. So when people see us, they have all kinds of reactions and stuff. And they, at this point, they're deadly. The reactions that they're having are deadly. And I think that we need to classify this as what it is. It's a disease that people are having when they see Black folks, that they're reacting. They think, oh, well, let me call the police on them and hopefully the police will kill them. Or let me be the police and go not even give this person a shot because they have all the common physical, emotional, maybe somebody beat them up, emotional experience, maybe the Black person screamed on them at one time, or mental experience. Maybe it's things that they see on the TV that are distasteful. So now when we look at the slavery that we've been through, and then this on top of that, where people are actually pushing their feelings and emotions on us and not connecting the dots between the two, we have a catastrophe and we have where we are. So we need reparations. Foundational Black Americans, as you say, need to be in our own group. You have all of these foreigners coming in and then claiming Black American. And so we have no place because these foreigners are coming in with a plan, with opportunity, because America pays them when they get the chance to come in here to be a part of America and be a productive citizen. We need that same new boost. We don't need the boost that, that you took away from us years ago.
Right. Absolutely. That's my sentiment exactly. Like and I'm all for anyone wanting to come and benefit and better themselves, but not at the expense of stepping on my skull and bones to do it. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like so many, and not all, but there's God knows there's a lot. There's more than a few. It's a lot of people that come here and they have this notion as it pertains to foundational Black people that we are the worst. And
we are, Kev. On paper we are. I mean, we're the best. We're people of genius, but on paper we are. And we have to start looking at the numbers. We can't be the highest people in HIV, the percentage of people per capita in HIV. We can't be the highest percentage of people in jails. We can't be the highest percentage of people with diabetes. And so we're not taking care of ourselves the way that we need to take care of ourselves. So we need a new plan in place. We need to stop telling ourselves that, why are you saying this to us? Step up. Okay. So I believe that that we're having post-traumatic stress, but I believe that enough of us can move the needle forward to get past this.
Just for the record, though, when you take things like HIV and AIDS and you look at the Black community, right? And this is, see, they make this one big Black person. You know what I mean? Like they couple Caribbean, Africans, and they just say, oh, you're Black. So if you were to divide that pie that you just said of how many people that have HIV and AIDS that are really foundational Black Americans, believe it or not, you'll find small. A lot of people don't know that. So that's the narrative. That's to keep us for the same narrative.
It may be a narrative, but we got to stop falling into the story, Kev.
Oh, whoa. Foundational Black America. But the only way is ownership. How do you put out a narrative? You put it in print, you put it in television, and you put it on radio. Something that we don't own and control.
But
so it goes back to.
But Kevin, we have prominent folks that are misguiding and misleading our community in the directions that they think are good. They're not doing the system into what people are saying and trying to say that this is
all about the system of white supremacy. Discrimination.
I can't hear you.
Lack of opportunities of a bigger issue, and say that's the root. Well, I totally try to solve our problem. We run.
Yeah, well, we're acting as if we're acting as if our problem can't be solved. And that's the bigger issue, is that we have to look at solutions. And that's something that Tim Scott said, and I was on board with it. He put the Policing Act of 2020 and I think 2019, and the Democrats flat out refused it. So we've got to stop playing this political pandering, and we've got to get real. So they're acting like there's no solutions to these issues that we have, right? So the Black people have. There's solutions to everybody else's issues, but Biden should be putting out an executive order right now on stopping this retaliatory killing after the Chauvin verdict. Okay, so this man, Derek Chauvin, went to jail, and we had like 6 police killings in 24 hours, and there's no executive order. There's no protection for these young people getting shot by the police. And so all these things, we have to begin to take ownership of, not just pointing the finger, because they feel like if we're killing people in our community and we don't have a problem, we're not jumping up. Why are we not jumping in nobody's face? You think that if we didn't jump into people's faces like we do when the police come, you think we didn't jump in these little boys' faces that are killing people, that they wouldn't stop, just like these police are? So we need to be full circle, and we need to be transparent all the way around, and we need to pull up our pants. We need to get everything that we need to do on point. And I believe that, even when we're the best of the best, they're still going to try to knock us down. But what does that mean? Don't be the best? Like, come on.
Let me ask you a question. And I hear you. I really do. And forgive me, because I'm a little jaded, I think I'm more pessimistic than I am optimistic. So with that said, do you think foundational Black Americans are protected by the Constitution of the United States? I know we're overly punished by it, but do you think we're protected by it?
No, we're not. I mean,
So
not in any way, shape, or form. We are not protected by it. There is a constitution, and it should be protecting us. And I think that's what we're fighting for: is the protection under the law. We were 3/5 of a person when the Constitution was written, so they weren't considering us in the Constitution, and they don't now. Let me just run this by you, Kev. What I think is happening, that where you have this big influx of people running in at the border, that they're trying to move us out, the Black Americans. We've watched in New York City how they've moved us from borough to borough, pushed us out, pushing us to other states now, and they've been trying to get us out for a long time, and it's working. And so now you have an influx of people. We're not going for the banana in the tailpipe anymore. We're not going for that in our community. So they're trying to replace us with somebody. Now you have a group of people that want to work really hard, that the American dollar is $14 to their peso. It's like 14-1 to their peso, maybe more at this point, but they're willing to work for the American dollar harder than we are, now that we've been through everything that we've been through, America. So now that we're pointing our fingers and saying we want this and we want that, America is now trying to expunge us from its property and say that we never wanted you anyway, and you're a broken community. So yes, we have to definitely look at this a different way, Kev, because if we don't, we're in trouble. I mean, we're in trouble as it is, but we have enough power, enough manpower across the board. We have to work together to get somewhere new.
Right. I agree with that. I for one personally think the only way we can do that is through being sovereign, just like Native Americans. See, if my whole thing is, if you say, oh, foundational Black Americans don't deserve reparations, then Indians don't deserve reparations, because they didn't build the country. They just had it from them. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, I mean, this is for another conversation for another time. Those are not even real Indians. Those are pretendians. Those are people that's pretending to be Indian. But
they got a lot of that stuff, and we need to be pushing.
That's another conversation for another time, because I hate to say it, but Trump was absolutely right when Elizabeth Warren got up there and said she was Indian, and he said where. Right. I'm not a Trump.
We give people those kind of passes, just like, the Vice President, Kamala Harris. I argue whether, she's a Black American, she's a Jamaican American, and she's a first generation Jamaican, right, Indian American, and that's, to be celebrated. But you don't have the experience of Black Americans. Your parents owned slaves, and we were slaves. So, I think there's a large difference, and we couple it together and think that experience is similar, because she was able to achieve the American dream to the highest power. And I applaud her as a woman, but I also want her to make room for the little Black girl like me, whose family was here and was slaves, and, and have a different bloodline.
Mm-hmm. He's going to arrest a little Black girl and
right.
Take you to jail. Are you kidding me?
Right.
But yeah, I digress. So yeah, the other thing is with law enforcement. I'm gonna tell you
I can't hear you.
I got mixed feelings. I don't know. It's a fine line. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Janelle?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I said, I think sometimes we do need bigger government. The problem is, 2 times the federal government came to the aid of Black people in this country. That was the Civil War, and that was civil rights. They bailed us out twice. So they bailed us out. And so I think sometimes when you say conservatism, right, we want smaller government. You don't want it so small where it doesn't bail you out a third time.
I'd like that. But Kev, here's the problem. when we talk about bigger government for us, that's child support. So that's our guys going on child support, not their passports being revoked because they haven't paid child support, because we're asking the government to step in and help us with our, our businesses. Okay. And so while, women need the money, do we actually need the overture of people in our business like that? So, I think that we need to look at, really hardcore, like something that Biden put out is they're going to ban menthol cigarettes. And 85% of people who smoke menthol cigarettes are African Americans. So you legalize marijuana and then ban menthol cigarettes. So all you're doing is exchanging one for another. So we still will be, having a version of stop and frisk. And then when people still want to smoke their menthol cigarettes because they've been doing it all their lives and they've been addicted to it, now, you have a right to, arrest us and, and give us tickets. Stop eating your people, America. Stop eating your people. You're eating your citizens, America.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I think this conversation is very refreshing. I want to thank you for it because, Republicans get a really bad rep. You know what I mean?
We do, but I think that I'm doing a really good job at being a Republican, Kevin. Let me just tell you why really quick. It's because I'm still myself. Just because I'm a Republican, you don't hear me talking like this. Well, my name is Jania Butler and I'm a Republican from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Nah, I'm Jania Butler. And I'm a home girl and I'm a Republican that can make sense out of what I'm saying. And so, so I think that we need to look at it like we all need to be everywhere. We need to be everywhere. We need a seat at everybody's table. I laugh at the soundbite that I brought in of I'm saying that I brought in the soundbite. I can't even remember her name, but the soundbite of everyone being having a seat at the table, and that we need seats at the table. And so now more than ever, we need a seat at every table, and we need to be represented, and we don't need to misrepresent ourselves when we sit at tables.
Right. I absolutely agree. What we need is access to ownership. And that's something that we don't have. And case in point, Bill Cosby is a great example to that. I mean, we could argue the merits of his case, but, that man is kind of sitting in jail right now for wanting to buy NBC.
Right. Right. And picking it up. And we have to be careful what we do and how we do it. But yes.
We're going to wrap this up, though. But when you coming back on?
I'm waiting for you, Kev. You say that I'm so busy, but I'm waiting for you.
Okay,
Thank you for having me.
They were telling me that the mic was off. I mean, I kind of need you. I kind of need you back across the table from me because I think we have a great chemistry.
Absolutely, I look forward to it.
But I mean, I don't expect to see her for a minute, but it's okay. But I always got.
I can't wait to see you. I'm ready, so it's on you. Okay.
Yeah. So anything that you're doing right now? Like I want to help you with this.
Well, we have the Hip Hop Union, so we are planning a Legends brunch, inviting everybody and letting everybody know what we have to offer. We have great folks behind us, really strong team. So I think everybody will be really impressed by the heavy hitters that I've brought to the table to kind of help me roll this out. And so we will be offering our first Hip Hop Union packages to the legends and to people that want to start buying in and start looking forward to, having a beautiful retirement through hip hop music.
And that's great because, Herc used to complain that there was no health care for hip hop.
Right. Well,
Little Steve would talk about that there's no dental for hip hop.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, I applaud you for just actually being the first.
God is good. God is good. And so we'll get it right.
So, all right. Well, I'm gonna definitely bring you back on.
Thanks for having me. And so let me just put my it's at Jania Butler, Instagram. You can find me on, I'm not really on Twitter, but at JINEEA Butler, BUTLER. We have our show, The G Check. We have a lot of stuff going on. So thank you so much, Kev. Thank you to the sound team.
About that.
Huh?
And don't forget the New American.
and the New American newspaper and the network and everything
Right.
like that coming on.
That
So
I'm
we got
writing
a lot of
for.
stuff going on.
I gotta, Janelle, you wonderful. I
Thank
love you. Thank
I
you
love
so
you
much for
too.
being you.
Thank you. Appreciate
And
you.
don't change.
Never.
This is the
Have a
boy
good one.
Megan. Kap or No Kap. This was just straight truth with no chaser. Peace.